I just landed something really cheap that I'm going to flip into an expensive item I've wanted in my kitchen forever. So let's get busy.
The table was moved into a shady spot outside. Then I tested the top boards to see if I liked what I saw underneath. I used a heat gun, then after the paint started to bubble, I scraped the paint off. The tool I'm using is called a heat gun. This is a specific tool meant to heat surfaces, unlike a blow dryer meant to dry hair. So this offers a lot more intensity, and they usually have different settings as well. Another alternative to scraping paint off is to just cover your piece with other wood. That would save you a lot of time. However, I'm really curious to what's underneath, so I'm going to continue with one board, sand it, and then see what's left. Okay, I've been playing, so I'm going to take you through my thought process to show you what else you can do. I had all these cedar scraps. This is actually kindling, but I sanded one down and the finish was absolutely beautiful. I have a whole crate of these, so what I could essentially do is do a herringbone finish on top. However, I'm kind of leaning towards these cedar planks I have on another older desk that I've had up for years, and maybe I need a fresh look on that one. So I'll just borrow the planks and put them on here. But this way I can make the table a little bit larger in certain sections, like do a bit of an overhang, and I don't have any gaps in the boards if I put them nice and tight, which I think is probably a better option for a kitchen table. The planks are sanded down, then set aside. Next up, I turned the picnic table upside down and sanded the legs until they felt smooth. Before any sanding, it's a good idea to check for lead paint, plus to sand outdoors where there's endless ventilation. I may be taking another detour. Very seldom do I start to finish a project without a zillion modifications. I call it artistic expression. Let me know what you think of this patina. I later decided to repaint to help elevate the table for indoors a little more. Then I checked all the top boards and wobbly leg joints, which were strengthened with a wrench and a few added screws. I also prepped a couple of random chairs I had to give them a fresh look too. The table was then brought inside. Reaching for casement by Fusion Mineral Paint, the picnic table was placed upside down, then painted until my desired coverage was met. I like to use a brush to get the paint on quickly, then use end-to-end long swipes without stopping to alleviate most brush strokes. You can also use a velour roller for a similar effect. For the bench, I painted underneath first, then right side up so the entire finish looked fresh and clean. Choosing a few different chairs I had in my stash, I freshened up the spindles on one by painting it with an old sock. This gives a lighter paint coat than a brush does. However, the finish was flawlessly smooth and so easy to do. This office area has nearly been here 20 years at the beginning of my blogging journey, but now I'm really excited to get it looking more like a kitchen. I then prepared the room for the table. The office gear was removed piece by piece, then I rearranged the back wall display with a mix of full plants, crates, baskets, and kitchen accessories instead. I knew I didn't need any help. Then the table was brought into the space. After applying some furniture sliders to the bottom of the legs, I positioned the boards on top, then added 2 screws per plank to attach them to the picnic table. Screws give you the leverage to easily remove them if desired at a later time. The boards got a light sanding with a higher grit sandpaper, then after dusting, I applied furniture wax by Fusion Mineral Paint or Homestead House. However, I will admit, the Tuscan scent the Fusion wax has was a definite bonus while working with it, which eventually fades with time. The wax was first applied with a rag, then after allowing to sit for about 5 minutes, I polished off the excess. While the boards look darker when first applied, they do lighten up right back again after it cures, which I love. Then my random collection of chairs plus the bench were positioned into place. I love how this instantly gave the table a collected over time look. Then with a few final touches, my new farmhouse table was now complete and ready to enjoy. I love how the white base marries the rest of the whites in the space, while the reclaimed wood on top warms it up just enough for that classic farmhouse table vibe. The mix of chairs is so fun and gives me the leverage to change them out if a more interesting one comes along. I nearly gasped when I realized both my bulletin boards for puzzles fit on this table perfectly. This is where they're going to live. I'm so happy.
This is so fun. And isn't it pretty?
I also love the fact that by adding planks of wood on top, the wood can be sized according to whatever you desire, making this a very versatile piece. The whole space is now super functional to enjoy a midday coffee or have a meal while looking beautiful too.
Oh my goodness. I feel like a kid in a candy store right now. I've finally got my farm table, and it didn't cost me a bundle at all, like $25, and my time, of course. And it gives me the ambiance I want, the space I need, and I get to look at pretty stuff all through my upstairs. This is wonderful. It worked out really great.
If you come across a standard dresser with drawers that's seen better days, you won't recognize it after this fabulous flip idea. I'm removing all the drawers from the dresser since they won't be needed. However, I will be using 2 drawer pulls. All the drawer brackets from the inside of the dresser are being removed. The entire dresser is getting a scuff sand all over, then dusted off with a tack cloth. To prepare for painting, I'm placing 2 pieces of wood and paper underneath the dresser. Choosing a paint color called Cast Iron by Fusion Mineral Paint, I'm first edging all the corners with a smaller paintbrush, then rolling the rest of the paint on all sides of the dresser. I like using a velour roller for smooth surfaces to alleviate brush strokes. I'm now measuring slightly larger than the width and height of all the dresser drawer cutouts, then cutting 4 shorter and 4 longer pieces of lumber to create 2 door frames. Dry fitting the boards into rectangles, I'm adjusting a Craig jig pocket hole maker to the thickness of the boards I'm using, which is 3/4 of an inch. I want to assemble the board, so I'm screwing into the side of the wood grain for added strength. Choosing some simple butt hinges, I'm using a ruler to help position 2 hinges on the edges of each door. Holding the hinge in place, I'm penciling in the screw placements, then pre-drilling small holes and assembling with screws. After ironing some burlap sandbags, I'm positioning them onto a work table, then placing the door frames on top. With a piece of chalk, I'm tracing the inside of the doors onto the burlap. Removing the doors, I'm now positioning various stencils within the chalked area, then replacing the door frames to get a feel for the final design. To protect the work surface, I'm slipping some waterproof bags underneath the burlap. After taping the stencils in place on the burlap, I'm stenciling the images using cast iron for a rustic coffee bean bag look. A mix of coffee and grain sack styled stencils from Funky Junk's Old Sign Stencils are being arranged in random placements until both burlap panels are completed. After the stenciling is dry, I'm placing the door frames back on the stencil burlap, then tracing the outside of each door panel with chalk, cutting along the lines. Flipping the door frames good side down, I'm positioning the burlap panels good side down on the backs of the frames, then attaching them together using a staple gun. The edges of all the burlap is being trimmed just outside the staples. Working with the inside dresser configurations, I found I could simply slip in some cut boards to create simple shelves that didn't even need to be permanently attached. After positioning the doors to be exactly in the middle of the dresser, I'm installing the door hinges with screws. And the end result is a rustic cabinet perfectly styled into a charming coffee station. The mix of raw wood, black, and burlap just adds the perfect coffee shop vibe while adding warmth and interest to any space. The stenciled coffee bean bag images really hone into this theme, which of course can be switched out to any other design you wish. And to complete the look, added mug hooks and all the coffee essentials are ready for coffee time duty.